Hey, what's up guys? So I just want to make a quick video actually kind of introducing myself and seeing where I come from as far as gaming goes. Because a lot of people who are watching this probably have no idea who I am, nor should they. But some of you already watching my channel know that I am a co-creator of the original Game Room with Mark Busler, who's gone on to recreate the classic Game Room. It's turned into a very successful channel. I think a lot of you watching this have probably already seen that. So for those of you who don't know me, this video is for you. And for those of you who do know me and been wondering what I've been doing with myself for the last how many years, this is for you also. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is David. I am from North Jersey. I'm about 38, going on 39 this summer. And I've been gaming since the very early 80s. I think my gaming can be attributed to this NTEX handheld copy of Space Invaders that I got when I was very young. I remember one summer, my family, we used to live in St. Louis, but we would vacation in Manasquan, New Jersey. And one summer we went to Manasquan and I brought that machine with me and I stayed inside for probably days just playing that thing. I probably should have been outside playing with other kids, but I was way more interested in improving my high score. So I played the shit out of that thing, and I probably got yelled at one or two times by my extended family and my parents to wrap it up and actually get outside. But eventually, at some point, I did get sick of that machine, and I did go out and experience the outside and all that fun stuff. And the nice part about that was I discovered the boardwalk and I discovered arcades. So that was just another exposure for myself to be exposed to arcades. And I think that's the first time I ever heard the Sinistar machine actually speaking synthesized voice, which kind of creeped me out. But that was pretty awesome. I was also just really kind of obsessed with other video game characters at the time, namely Pac-Man. I remember really just loving the Pac-Man game and Miss Pac-Man, all that stuff, and really wanting those. You guys remember those Coleco shrunken down arcade machines? They were like these little tabletop things. They just looked like shrunken down arcade cabinets, and they were freaking cool looking. They had like Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, all these ones. They were awesome. And I remember like really wanting that. I never got it, but that was fine because I had more than enough Star Wars toys at the time, because Star Wars toys were badass. G.I. Joe, Transformers, all that stuff kept me going just fine. However, I did have the Pac-Man Fever vinyl, which I probably listened to the point where my parents wanted to commit suicide. But anyway, so back to gaming. Eventually, my dad did eventually go out and buy a Commodore 64, and that was the family's first computer. That was the first time we ever had a computer in our house, and that was just an amazing machine, obviously. Now, I kind of lucked out where, a couple streets down, I had a neighbor who also had a Commodore 64, and their family had a little bit more money, so they were buying games constantly. So, I don't know if you guys remember this, but back then, you could just basically take a blank floppy disk from the store and just go copy the game. So that's what we did. I copied almost his entire library. So I played so many games on that thing. The ones I remember the most are like Jumpman, Congo Bongo, Q*bert, Ace of Aces. I used to love that game, and of course Aliens. I fucking loved Aliens on the Commodore 64. That game was the shit. So as far as home consoles go, I didn't really get exposed to Atari that much when I was really young. My cousins had a 2600, and I did get to play some games when I went over there. And another buddy of mine had one of those smaller, shrunken down, redesigned 2600s, and played like Empire Strikes Back on that a whole lot. But I didn't really spend as much time playing Atari games. So I didn't really get that kind of investment and bond with the system and the games and all that sort of thing. It wasn't really until one very special Christmas that really kind of kicked off my home console thing. Now, what happened there is, I don't really remember what year it was, but one Christmas, I was very young, and I went downstairs to go see what Santa got me along with my sister, just like every other kid does. And I looked under the tree, and I saw a big box, and it had my name on it. And I was like, oh my God, like, I have a big box. Like, how cool is this? A big box, and it's for me, yeah. So I ran right to the big box, and I opened it up. I started shredding it up. And the first thing I see is, I didn't know it at the time, but it's like the trademark white with blue grid lines design of Sega and the Sega Master System. So I was ripping it open. I was like super psyched because I was starting to see like obviously a console, a controller. I saw a light gun. I saw 3D glasses. I saw screenshots of games, and I was seeing like Hang On, Safari Hunt, stuff like that. And I was losing my shit. Very happy, obviously. And then my mom hands me a smaller box, or my dad, I don't remember. hands me a smaller box, and then another smaller box, and another smaller box, and they're all wrapped up, and they're all the same size. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I started unwrapping them. They're all games. They're all games. I got like 12 to 15 games that one Christmas for the Sega Master System. So it turns out that my parents must have got it on clearance or something like that, because there's no way we had enough money to buy a brand new system with all those games, like brand new. So this thing had kind of bombed over here in the States, the Sega Master System, competing up against the Nintendo Entertainment System. So obviously it kind of bombed. My parents got it on clearance. They got me like 12 to 15 games. I couldn't have been fucking happier. Like, if they got me a Nintendo Entertainment System, I might have gotten 1 or 2 games. But here I got like 15. I was playing games. I was playing like Shinobi, Alex Kidd in Miracle World, Kinsidon, The Ninja, Rambo, Zaxxon 3D. Oh man, just so many games. It was an amazing, amazing winter. And that's really when my love for console gaming was born, and really kind of my love for Sega as well, in that one Christmas with that one system. So from that point on, I owned every console that I could afford, or that I could afford to ask for. And then eventually my interest, as I got older, my interest expanded into filmmaking and just film in general. So some family and personal issues happened, and that led me to move out to Pittsburgh with my father. And that's when I actually started to go to Pittsburgh Filmmakers. Now, Pittsburgh Filmmakers is, it was a cool place, and I met a couple really cool classmates there that we had a lot in common with. And one of those classmates, as I'm sure you might be aware of, was Mark Bussler. Now, his father owned a pretty successful engineering software company, but what he was doing also on the side was trying to launch this internet TV channel. And they were looking for people to come on and help them, build this channel and, help out with the camera work and all this sort of thing. And, Mark offered me the job, and I jumped on it because I was really looking for a job at the time, and this was going to be able to use my filmmaking skills and that sort of thing. So I jumped at the chance, and we filmed dozens of shows. We did like dance shows, history shows, show about like paintball, all kinds of stuff. I mean, like, you name it, we made a show about it. And then eventually we were like, you know what, we have all this, we have access to all these tools. We have this love of gaming that we share. Let's make a show about it, So eventually we were just like, screw it. Like, after hours, after we're done, doing all our work on all these other shows and everything else, let's make our own show. So that's what we did. We utilized the studio stuff that we had, all the equipment, and we just said, let's do it. So that's where the Game Room started back in 99 and 2000. Yeah, so we did probably, close to 100 episodes, maybe more, maybe less. I don't remember what the exact number was. But, eventually we realized that it wasn't taking off the way that we wanted it to. And just the online TV channel concept, the way we were doing it, wasn't taking off either. It was just too early. It was 99, 2000. So broadband penetration was, very, very minimal. So eventually I had to think about what I was going to do with my career. So, what I realized is that I wanted to go back to school because I had quit going to college. I didn't finish my degree, and that had really been bothering me, especially now since this sort of career wasn't going to work out anymore. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to school, did some research, and then eventually led me to moving back to New Jersey, just because the rates and everything was just going to work out that way. So that's what worked out best for me. Now, Mark and I, we tried our best to stay in contact after I moved back to New Jersey. But, as everybody in a long distance relationship knows, it's not easy. So, and that goes for just regular friendships. It's not easy when you live, 6 hours away from each other. So that's a shame, but, I had to eventually get a job, and, I had to figure out a way to move out of my mom's place. So then what I did is I was able to sort of use that experience that I learned, doing these TV shows and everything, and get the job on a couple sets of a couple independent films, working on the camera crew. And that was an incredibly fun experience. I worked on a couple of movies in New York and in North Carolina. However, those were kind of more on a volunteer basis for, just to get experience on my resume, because that's just how filmmaking works. Not easy to live that way. And eventually, the money ran out for me, and I had to finish school and all that sort of thing. So that went away. And then what I did there is I used those experiences and those connections, and I decided I'm going to make a film here in New Jersey, a short film. And I was also part of this filmmaking club at Rutgers as well. So I was kind of using all these bits and pieces of information and connections and all that sort of thing, and just trying to make this best short film that I could. And we shot it on Super 16. My DP was awesome, so it still looks pretty good. You can watch the movie. It's called Deuce. It's on my YouTube channel. So let me know what you guys think, if you think it's any good. So then once I was done with the film and trying to get it into festivals and all that sort of thing, I got a job at a big ad agency in New York City, working on TV production and radio production, all that sort of thing. That was an amazing experience. My first week, I got to meet Errol Morris, who had directed like Thin Blue Line. He's a big Oscar-winning documentary director, tremendously talented guy. So my first week, I was like meeting people like that, and I was working on, I think, the very first Bubblicious campaign with LeBron. So it was kind of cool. But unfortunately, I was not being paid very well at all, and commuting into the city, working long hours, everything like that, it was just not a sustainable lifestyle for me anymore. So eventually, I did have to leave that job. And that's when I started to take office work and just sort of getting jobs that are closer to me, earning a little bit more money. And I got a little bit of free time back, so that was a benefit there. So I used that extra free time and the extra money that I was getting to start another hobby, which is playing poker. And I started to play poker a lot. I wasn't going to casinos a whole lot because that's a far drive to go to a casino to play. I was playing online. You were able to play online at that time. And I was playing very low stakes games, like pennies and 5-cent, 10-cent cash tables, and very rarely would I go up to the 50-cent, $1 or the $1, $2 cash tables. And then I started to play a lot of tournament poker, so I was doing those like low buy-ins or free buy-ins and just trying to earn my way into a higher buy-in, that sort of thing. So I got really into poker for a number of years, really reading into it, just consuming as much poker media as possible, trying to read as much as I could. And then Black fucking Friday happened, and they legalized all online gambling, seized all accounts and all that shit, and that's pretty much where my poker habit died. Playing it online was really the best way to do it for me because, yes, there are a couple casinos that I can drive to around here, but, in no way do I really feel like spending 2.5 hours driving down just to lose $500 when I could have just sat down every morning, buying $5 and I could have played all day, so big difference there. So obviously that's kind of where that hobby died. So really kind of the point of me telling you all this is that there were all these changes, all these things going on in life, and life took over, and I just pretty much lost all contact with Mark, unfortunately. So there were a number of years there where we were pretty much out of contact, and then in 2008 he started to relaunch Classic Game Room, and that's really when we kind of got back in contact. We did that first episode together. I think it was like an interview. Actually, I haven't watched it in a couple of years, so I kind of forget what we did. But that we sort of like reestablished contact and been sort of back in regular contact ever since then. So happy about that. And then we kind of talked offline that day, and since then I've made a couple of other appearances. But he's told me that people are always like kind of asking about us. Like whatever happened to the game room? What happened to Dave? What happened to Mark? Why aren't you guys coming back together? And when he started telling me this stuff, it sort of like woke something up inside of me where, I knew that we were doing that show back then for us, and we were kind of hoping that we would get fans and that sort of thing, but I didn't really feel like we were connecting with people, but it turns out that we were. And that really just sort of like woke this thing up inside of me where, what, like I want to talk about games again because, Mark and I shared that show back then. And since then, I haven't really had anybody to talk to about games and, in that kind of depth and detail, because none of my friends are as into games as me. Obviously I have friends here, but none of them are into it or as passionate as I am with games, or as Mark. So, that's really kind of been frustrating me for the last few years, and I just sort of like identifying it, like what that is, like what that piece is that's been missing. So, that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel. I'm doing it because I love games and I don't have anybody to talk to about it. So I figure I'll come on YouTube and talk to you guys about it. So I'm hoping you guys are kind of looking forward to what I'm doing with this channel. I'm definitely looking forward to making videos. Just so we're clear, I'm not trying to make like a competitor to Classic Game Room or anything like that. I'm pretty much doing this for myself and for the people who have kind of shown support and sort of egged me on to keep doing this sort of thing. So, it's really for me and for you. So thank you so much for kind of inspiring me to do this, because this is going to be great for me, and hopefully it's good for some people, and somebody finds it helpful at some point, like one of these reviews that I do. Hopefully it inspires people to get into games or to make their own YouTube channel or something. So Guys, for everybody who's supported me throughout the years, thank you so much. And the people who have already supported this YouTube channel, who have already shared the videos, subscribed and liked and everything, you guys, I can't thank you enough for showing me that support. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate if you guys keep on sharing and you know, growing my subscriber base and all that good stuff, because I really want to spread the word for games. So you guys, thank you again, and I'll talk to you later.